Hi, welcome to the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and comment your thoughts and opinions on the stories. Let's get started. Am I the antagonist for maybe causing my parents' divorce? My 18F, mom, F46, and my dad, M52, have always had an unstable marriage. My parents are immigrants from a three-road world country, and have worked very hard to be here. They left their friends, family, and all they ever knew to come to America, to have a better life for us kids. Except it isn't a better life. They're always fighting, because my dad takes a lot of money that he earns here, and sends it back to our home country, and to his brother, who is a doctor and quite frankly doesn't need that much, but asks for it, because he knows my dad will give it to him. Today my dad asked me to stay home, because he was going to be at work all day, and he needed someone to sign off a very important package. When I asked what the package was, he said a brand new iPhone. I know it was most likely for someone from the home country, as he refuses to buy us new technology often. I had plans to go out with my mother today, when I told her I couldn't go, because I had to wait for the package. She asked what the package was, and why it was so important. I told her the truth, that dad had bought a new iPhone. This enraged her. She called my dad screaming about how he refused to buy us new things and wastes their hard-earned money on stuff for his extended family without asking her. It led to a huge fight and now they might have just hit a breaking point and might divorce. My 14F sister says I should have just lied and not said anything about the iPhone, but I told her I didn't want to lie. Am I the antagonist? Now for the top comments. NTA, your sister is clueless. Can't really blame her for that at her age. Nevertheless, you need to hear the following and take it to heart. You are not the cause of your parents' divorce. Their unstable marriage predates your existence. If it hadn't been the iPhone, it would have been something else. Anybody who tells you otherwise is your enemy. 100% this opus, their marriage dissolving, is not your fault in any way. You were honest, and your dad is clearly hiding things from your mom. Best of luck, and keep being awesome. NTA, it will not be your fault if your parents divorce. It will be because of them and them alone. You are not the asshole. Their marriage was already shit and breaking. This moment was nothing more than a small weight that crushed the already cracked stone under it. You should not lie, especially to those close to you. Don't take advice from your 14-year-old sister. It may be better for all of you to go your separate ways. NTA, your mom has reached the end of her patience, because the point of leaving was for her and her kids to have a better life and be able to afford more things, and your dad denies you all that by spending all the money on the extended family. She's right to be at her wit's end. Am I the antagonist for threatening to kick my wife's maid of honor out of our wedding? My fiancé are getting married next year. I very recently proposed, and we decided to get planning early. My fianc had this friend Alice. I don't like to use this word, but Alice is a huge bitch. She hates me for no reason. Like literally no reason. When I first met her and my fiance's other girlfriends, she was very cold to me and was very clearly disapproving of me, and multiple times asked my now fiance why the hell she's with me. I think it's partially because my presence caused a big change in my fiance's life. She used to be a bit more loose with her morals. Partied a lot, drank more, hooked up a lot, and these are all things that Alice still does. I also think part of her is jealous and angry that Alice found herself a good man. So at our engagement party, Alice was not happy at all. She would glare at me across the room, wouldn't have fun, and was trying just being the mood down. Eventually my fiance and I spoke to her. My fiance was then pulled away by another girl. I decided then was a good time to settle things. I told her that my fiance chose me, not her. I said she needs to get over her silly little grudge towards me. I reminded her that it was my wedding, and that I could have her out of it so fast. And I knew my fiance would eye it as, once again, she chose Mel over her. Alice was visibly pissed and upset. I moved on, but the damage was done. Alice told my fiance what I said, and she told me I was being a huge dick and needed to apologize. I said that I would after Alice did. She refuses. I was accused of being passive aggressive and rude. My fiance is convinced I was the asshole and Alice is innocent. Am I the antagonist? Now for the top comments. Info: what makes you a good man? That you describe yourself as. Info: she hates you for no reason. I already dislike him just by reading this post, which is written by him. So, you weren't being passive aggressive and rude. You were being aggressive and rude. Your FNK friends don't have to like you. If you're going to be condescending to them, jealous and angry FNK has found herself a good man. They probably won't. Do you think their view may be that your FNK is compromising who she is to assuage your insecurities? You know, partying and drinking. Because you're worried about her loose morals. Beware. If Alice is mop, it means your FNK still values what Alice thinks. So you can't just dismiss her from your life. There are parts of your FNK that you're not supporting, and getting to know it in this interaction. Take it as an opportunity to be a better partner to your FNK. There's no saving op. BC op will never change and will never see things from any perspective but his warped one. Here's hoping his FNK takes this as opportunity to get the F away from this controlling, condescending, egotistical A. Am I the antagonist for refusing not to suggestively eating a banana? I'm a 36 male, and I work as a programmer in a medium-sized office with probably around 20 people in the office at one time. One of our older employees retired this year and has brought in a young woman to work. I often enjoy eating a banana for a quick break if I'm working on something and don't want to leave my desk. Yesterday was one of these days. I ate my banana, threw out the skin, and went back to work. Today I was hauled into our office. Someone has made a complaint that I was making aggressive and unwanted sexual advances towards them. I'm baffled. I asked to, and when this happened, sure enough, it was new girl, and they said it was yesterday. I tell hours I left my desk twice yesterday to go to the bathroom, but I had no contact with new girl. I haven't spoken to her in about a week. Then hours tells me that she has accused me of making suggestive gestures and inappropriately eating my banana in her direction. She wants me fired, or she will sue. I'm outraged. I tell them I have done nothing wrong. I ate a banana at my desk, like a normal person would eat a banana. There was nothing inappropriate about it. Bowers suggested I write a letter of apology to new girl and refrain from bringing bananas to work. I refused as I've literally done nothing wrong in my opinion. Bowers said I need to consider the potential hostile work environment I'm creating if I continue to bring bananas to work. I thanked them for their time, left the meeting, and started asking around about my banana eating habits. Everyone I know doesn't see an issue with it, but a few people have said if I'm making her uncomfortable, maybe I should just stop. Am I the antagonist? Now for the top comments. NTA. I would literally video myself every time I ate a banana from now on. Maybe even cut it up and eat it with a fork. She's going to make some ridiculous allegation about someone else next, and ours will see that she's the liability. I would absolutely refuse to write an apology, as that would admit wrongdoing. I'd also refuse to interact with her without another person present. That's a great idea. Eating it with a fork should clear up all issues. NTA. And you may want to run this by an employment attorney. It sounds to me that this girl is trying to commit insurance fraud against employers' employment practices liability policy, EPLI. This is a rising issue in the EPLI insurance sector. Makes a claim, threatens to sue, just hoping they give her a monetary settlement. Now they can't fire her, move her, demote her, or otherwise do anything that gives rise to a sniff of another EPLI action under the guise of retaliation. The reason I say for you to speak with an attorney is because you may be a pawn in this whole thing yourself. Truly, if this girl is defaming you by saying you have sexually harassed her, you might want to go on the offensive against her. If she just made this up with you as the offender simply to extort some money from your employer, then you've suffered a tremendous reputational hit along the way. Run this by an attorney, and one that knows what they are talking about. Expertise in EPLI actions is what you're looking for. NTA. What kind of a situation is this? OMG. She's new and is already making problems. The fact that they are treating you that way, I would leave. Also, are there cameras? Am I the antagonist for going on vacation without my wife? My M33 dad, M65, got a huge inheritance when my grandmother died a few years ago and has been hitting big with investments and the like. Earlier this year, he talked to us about him wanting to go on vacation to the Gulf of Mexico and he wanted to take us. At the time, my wife, F31, seemed super gung-ho about it. We don't have kids, so we asked a friend to stay at our home to watch our animals. Well, the time comes, and my wife decides at the last minute to not go. I talked to my dad about this, and he said he really wanted her to go, but if I decide I don't want to go it'll be okay. My wife told me I should still go, since he really didn't want to go by himself. It took a lot of convincing on their part, but I ended up going, while she stayed home. I still asked the friend if she could come stay at our home with my wife, so that she doesn't get lonely. Edit. I can't believe I forgot to include this. Her reason for deciding not to go is that she is terrified of longer car trips when I'm not the driver due to being involved with a horrific accident when she was a kid. My dad refuses to let anyone drive for him, so me being the driver was not an option. We probably could have flown there, but the car trip was only 4 hours without stops and she originally said that she could probably handle 4 hours if she distracted herself by drawing on her tablet. She decided not to go because she thought that even with a 4-hour trip her anxiety would get the best of her. Sorry for the long edit. My dad and I go, and we have a great time and I send pictures and videos to my wife the entire time, and buy her a lot of souvenirs. At first she replies a lot, but the further and further the vacation time elapses the less talkative she seems to be. We get home a week later, and my wife is just giving me the cold shoulder. I ask our friend what's wrong, since my wife won't talk to me, and the friend acts like she has no idea. The next day, I decide to surprise my wife with a homemade breakfast. She refuses to eat, which admittedly hurt my feelings a little bit, and she breaks her silence saying I was a butthole for going without her and making her stay home when she really wanted to go. I remind her that she decided not to go at the last minute and both she and my dad convinced me to go anyway, and her response is to accuse me of gaslighting her and that I told her to stay home, which didn't happen. But I felt like an asshole the entire trip anyway because I missed her and really wanted her there with us. Dad wanted her there too. Am I the asshole for leaving her at home while I went to the beach for a week? Edit. Thanks for the silver. Now for the top comments. She accused you of gaslighting her when she is in fact attempting to gaslight you about the situation. There's something going on here. Yeah, he isn't giving us all of the information. People are having to drag it out of him in the comments. NTAUMM. I'm confused here. Was she semi-testing you to see if you choose your dad's way, him driving only, and her way, you two following in your own car? Or did the friend say something to upset her? Either way, you two need to have an honest, calm, no accusing/blaming conversation. She said she was going to distract herself on the ride by drawing on her tablet and stuff like that. It was only a 4-hour ride, so I thought she could do it. NTA. This is awful behavior from anyone. You'd expect something like this out of a child. That is super weird. I would not put up with it for a second. I'd tell her take a good look at this situation and deal with it yourself. Because it is not my problem whatsoever, and I refuse to discuss it any further. You did absolutely nothing wrong. If she wanted something specific from you, she should have explicitly communicated her needs. Yes, this is harsh, because that behavior is absurd and nonsensical. Express your needs, people. It will go a long way. Info. Why didn't she go? Exactly. She didn't want to go because she's terrified of long car trips. NTA. Okay. Now it makes sense somewhat. She declined to go because of her own insecurities and fears and now holds a grudge because you didn't push her past them. She let her fear get the better of her, while deep down she did want to go. But instead of acknowledging this, she is shifting the blame on you. No, you can't allow your wife's anxiety to be in control of your decisions. Just as she should not allow it to be in control of hers. She needs treatment for this, an option like taking Xanax on a road trip so that this will not interfere with her life. She may have wanted you to stay home, but that doesn't mean pandering to irrational fears is the right or supportive thing to do. She needs to face this head on. It's unreasonable to hold her family back because she can't control who is the driver in order to placate an irrational fear unless your father is maniacal on the road. She learned to make an exception for you. She can learn to make exceptions beyond that, but she needs to push out of her comfort zone. Exposure is key to lessening anxiety. Hiding from it just prolongs and exacerbates the fear. Am I the antagonist for not wanting to leave my home for my sister's comfort? My sister, F20, and I, F16, have recently come into some conflict over a business trip our mom will be taking at the end of September. My older sister for whatever reason does not want me in the house for the first few days of our mom's trip and keeps pushing and trying to convince me to stay with a family friend of ours or my best friend's house. My issue being it's right before school starts, and during that time I'm normally really anxious, and I wouldn't want to impose on my best friend's family that close to school, especially because their youngest is starting year 1. I also don't want to stay with my family friend, because as much as I love them their little ones would only stress me out, and I'd prefer to sleep in my bed. My older sister and I got into a fight a few weeks ago, and we haven't brought it up since, but I really don't think I'm wrong for not wanting to leave the house I also live in. Another reason being we have 4 pets. Her dogs and my cats. I paid for and still pay for them as they are my cats. I trust her, but I still would prefer to not be away from my babies. She refuses to tell me why she doesn't want me in the house, but I'm suspecting there could be 2 reasons. One of which is because she wants alone time, or because she thinks she'll need to take care of me. I told her that if she wanted alone time for those 2-3 days I could just stay in my room and only come out when I need to. Not a problem for me, because I'm on the 2nd floor with my own bathroom. I also told her that if she's worried about taking care of me, that it's not a problem because I'm 16. I have a job, and I'm fully capable of keeping myself alive for a few days. Now for the top comments. AWW, you're so wholesome. Your sister likely wants to have someone over to spend the night with her and doesn't want you there, so you don't snitch. She has no right to kick you out of your own house. She's an adult. If she wants to spend the night or needs space, or whatever her reason is, she can move out. It makes much more sense for her to find a place to do whatever she's up to, since she's a grown up. You're definitely not the a-hole. If she wants to have someone special over, I have no problem leaving for a few hours, but I just hope she'd tell me so we can communicate that better in the future. Either that or a rager. Either way, you can't be expected to be gone all night and not properly prepare for the start of school. 100% your sister wants to have someone over. This, whether it's getting her friends together or having some adult alone time, she needs her sister out of the way. And if she's not outright saying who it is or what is going on, chances are she thinks it will get her in trouble in some way, or she'd likely have just said, hey, I wanna have people over. Can you have plans for these days? Am I the antagonist for making my boyfriend cry after I corrected him in front of his family? Hi, so my boyfriend, 22, and I, 22F, have been having a really rocky few weeks. I started a new job, and I work with kids and am exhausted when I come home from work, so I normally do homework and then game for a little. My boyfriend's been on this thing about how I never help out at this apartment or with the dog, which is fair. I definitely don't clean as much as I should, but I probably pick up the kitchen twice a week and let the dog out once a day. I always make sure his food and water dishes are full. I work 11-hour shifts BTW and get up at 5 AM. He doesn't work and plays video games literally all day long. He doesn't wake up until 11 and then has on when I get home, and he sure as hell on when I go to bed. We just got back from his family dinner, and he was complaining to his mom about how he didn't know getting a GF meant adopting a child, my dog, and he was tired of looking after the dog. I told him it's funny he says he takes care of him when his food and water bowl were empty when I left and empty when I came home, and the dog ate and drank like his life depended on it. He said he fed him. He definitely didn't. Then he said I'd do a lot of other things. And I said, like what? Walk him? Take him potty? Because he has accidents all the time, but never on the weekend when I'm home. He started stammering and saying he did a lot with the house, and I sorta just snapped and told him I could see him on games for 12 hours a day while I worked to provide for us. He didn't say anything, just got up and left. His mom said she was sorry and if I needed help to let her know. His dad said him being too hard and him going to drive him away. Edit, him not saying he didn't deserve it. I think him a jerk because of the harshness and environment this conversation happened in. I heard him crying and has completely stonewalling me and him getting really guilty about embarrassing him in front of his parents. Edit 2. Please stop saying my dog needs to be rehomed lol. I normally put water in his dish in the mornings and food. Just not today because I was running late. My issue is with my boyfriend claiming to do things that I do or he just doesn't do. I walk the dog after work. I run him hard on the weekends. He gets playtime and has healthy. I promise the dog is happy lol. He didn't have food for one day and my boyfriend happened to comment on how hard it was to take care of a dog, so I called him out on not even feeding him the one day I missed. Now for the top comments. NTA. Why make the effort to drive him away? End the relationship now and hire a dog walker. A dog walker would probably be cheaper than what BF eats or spends on games. Honestly. His dad said I'm being too hard and I'm going to drive him away. I believe the phrases, don't threaten me with a good time. I've always wanted an opportunity to say this. One day. NTA sounds like you're the one who ended up adopting a child. NTA. The truth needed to be said. He needs to step up his contributions and or stop complaining about you. This is the only reason I care. I don't mind he doesn't have a job. I don't mind a slightly messy house. But I do care that he is being unreasonable with me. He doesn't clean the house and doesn't contribute his half to rent/bills. He isn't working, if he's even looking at all. He tells his parents lies about you. What exactly is he contributing to this relationship?